All right, I think we are live everywhere. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Just thought I would sit down and do a Q&A and a current events for you guys. Kind of saw the stuff all in the news this morning, and I'm sure this is going to be a topic of controversy. Um, but apparently, the National Guard has been dispatched to protect ICE up in Chicago. Of course, that's going to be a controversial thing, but I guess my take on it is again, ICE is enforcing fairly non-strict immigration laws. We have some of the laxest immigration standards and laws anywhere in the world. The fact that people think it's a big deal that we even enforce them is crazy. Like the only reason it's a big deal is because we've been so lax in enforcing them. It's kind of created a culture to where people expect it, and so accordingly, it's turned it into a political issue. But the rest of the world doesn't play the game we do with that. They really don't. And so the thing is with it, um, it's just ludicrous that it's there. And as far as people kind of pointing out, and we'll entertain other questions in a bit, they're like, but they're not supposed to be used against citizens. But it's like, I'm looking at a lot of those crowds rioting who are getting particularly violent and stuff with ICE, right? They're flying foreign flags. So if you're an aggressive force inside the U.S. and you are literally flying the flag of another country, why wouldn't they treat you like enemy combatants? And I think that's a problem. And I would say that would really be a problem for them in terms of a legal battle if this turns into a real conflict and the National Guard uses force there. And they're like, I don't know, we shot people flying the flag of another country who got violent. Do you think it realize how stupid that is? Like, if these people have any sense, any of these protesters, if they're going to get involved with this, maybe don't fly other flags. Because the administration is going to have a hell of a defense in court. They're going to have one heck of a defense when they justify it later. We shot enemy combatants. They were foreign nationals fighting under another flag, literally under another flag. I think that's kind of a problem, right? Hey, Keith, I have no idea what that even means. Dr. Todd, I don't know who that is, dude. Sorry, no clue who she is or who her the Primo Princess is. I've never heard this before in my life. But, you guys kind of see the problem with this of people getting upset about it. But it's like, I mean, I'm looking at pictures of the crowd. I'm seeing multiple different flags from all sorts of countries. Do you see the problem with the argument people are making? Well, they're using it against Americans. Are they? They're fighting under another flag. They're getting up being potentially violent protesters flying the flag of another country. Oops, my bad. We popped off on people who were under a flag of a different country. We didn't know they were Americans. We had no reason to suspect. You see the problem here? This is dumb. I guess it's really dumb on the part of the protesters. Like, the best thing they could do is be like, oh yeah, we're Americans and fly American flags only. That would be smart. So again, the stupidity of it. It's kind of like F around and find out. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Yeah, let's just go have all these flags of different countries while we get aggressive with federal agents, and then the National Guard shows up and starts busting caps at us. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is the best choice and that we should be necessarily doing martial law in general. I'm generally opposed to things like martial law. But playing devil's advocate here, if you want to use the defense of, hey, we shouldn't be doing this, well, then stop doing it under other flags, you dumbasses. Primo Princess is a person who thinks Primo is the best anabolic status civil. Primo is actually pretty solid, though, to be fair. It's actually pretty potent. I think it's pretty good. But that being said, I'm not going to do a lot of gear talk because I'm also on Facebook. We're on multiple streams, and so I can't be discussing a whole lot of gear use. However, I do consultations for that. But I generally, if you can even get real Primo right now, I generally say for a lot of dudes, it's actually quite good for just growing true lean muscle tissue with minimal side effects. You know, milligram per milligram, it's quite solid. You know, but not very good for what. Whereas in guys like Broderick Chavez say it's great. Most pro bodybuilders, most serious bodybuilders I know use a lot of Primo. A lot of the most jacked guys I know, bodybuilder wise, competitors are really big on it. I've known over the years. Now, all of that being said, I don't really do gear talk in here for the most part. Well, yeah, the large amount of injection volume, but you've also got to ask how much stuff are guys using. It's because they all want to use 2, 3, 4 grams of gear. Well, yeah, that's a little bit hard with something like that. Because even a gram of Primo is like 10 cc's. That's a lot. Appreciate it, Dean. Hit that like button. Everybody hit that like. Let's get the likes flowing. But I more or less kind of gave my little quick spiel on that topic, and other people are free to chime in with that or other stuff. And I'll be happy to discuss it further. But it's just what I saw in the news, and just kind of gave my couple minutes take on the situation, just with what I see in the news. And I do see what both sides are saying, in regards to the deployment of National Guard, but they're not being used directly as police. It's to protect law enforcement. But I mean, the ICE is just doing their job. I mean, they're enforcing pretty mild immigration laws that have just gone under enforced. We don't have super strict immigration laws, to be fair. Ever had Puerto Rican coffee? I don't know. I literally don't know if I've ever had Puerto Rican coffee. I don't even know what country the one I put up in my pictures and I've been drinking. The peach, I don't know what country it's from. I don't know if it's American, Colombian, Arabic, Puerto Rican. I don't know, man. Is there a reason there's something special about coffee from Puerto Rico? Right. I can't say I've ever knowingly had coffee from there. Not saying I've never sampled anything lovely that came out of Puerto Rico of the female persuasion, but I don't think I've ever had the coffee. A long, long time ago in my youth. All right. What else we got going on here, guys? We lost a like. We had more likes in here. Somebody took a like away. Hit that like button, y'all. What's up with that? I'm going to leave a message. And let's get this chat flowing. Get them likes going. Y'all even doing. Let's get other topics. All right, we've covered that topic. But what else we got going? Dean, Keith, we got anything to talk about that I can actually talk about that's not bannable like heavy drug discussion here? Keith, I appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you so much. And he's got a membership now. Hey, Dean's always trying to match the supers. Dean, you got to match the Superman. Dean gets in these contests where he matches every super, and he didn't declare one. Right. Oh, well. But the supers also get the kicking into outreach. Like, it kicks it into people's feeds because they're like, oh, well, if they're going to have money flowing in this, then we definitely want this going out there. Because they take like a small cut, like 15% or 20% or something. They take their little cut. They take their little dollar off the top. That's how they do. It's all good, though. It's all good. Can you dig it? Hold on. Let me make another post over here while I'm waiting. right? How's these days going so far? We're expecting many kapows. We had a bunch yesterday, but I don't know if we're expecting any today, right? There might not be much in the way of kapows at all. I guess we're going to find out. We won't know till we get a little further into it, right? We don't know till they get going. But we'll see what happens, North American. We were on fire with some of them yesterday, right? It was booyakasha everywhere, right? Like Ali G, booyakasha. Shake and bake and booyakasha all over the place. We're going to get various movie and show references all the way through these, I think. They're going to accumulate over time. There's going to be a traditions around it. We're going to have to get creative with it, have to smite some of them for the emperor. Dean, there we go. Dean in that contest. We're having a super chat contest. Jason, I'm not trying to be messy, but what the F is Peppermint talking about yesterday? Acting like aggressive, pursuing wealth is against Christian virtues. You just want people to be rich. Rich people have much greater capacity. I mean, interesting take. What they have is here's the conversation being had. It's not that you shouldn't be prosperous, because as you noted, people who have prosperity through ethical business practices have the ability to help way more people. Like, who do you think donates and builds churches? Who do you think funds missionaries, right? Where do you think they get the money from? Who funds all these food shelters? It's charitable donations. So yes, it takes money to do the things that Christ talked about. Because did Christ not command you to feed the homeless? Right? And that's where people get into these arguments with government. And they're like, well, if that's the case, why shouldn't we tax? Because he didn't say go tax people to feed the homeless. He said that you were supposed to give charitable to them personally. He didn't say people take your taxes and just go spend whatever and use some of it for that. The intention would be that you're supposed to personally make sure it happens. So he wanted you to feed the homeless. And I think that's a perfect example, Keith. But I think what's been pointed out is that term that people use, that the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money is the root of all evil, it's the love of money. And I suppose it's when we pursue wealth at the expense of our morality is the concern. Make sense? The pursuit of wealth at the expense of your morality. It's not that working hard, and if you happen to be prosperous and enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? Because a man is supposed to enjoy the fruits of his labor. That is actual scriptural. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Okay. And there were cases where God did reward people with riches, But then the expectation is, as you know, that they're to help people. They're supposed to use that to help people. They're supposed to use that for good deeds, a good chunk of it. Or we could make the argument 10% of it, right? Because if you think in terms of what tithing represents, well, if you're using part of that 10% tithe doesn't necessarily have to go to a church. It could be going to feed the homeless. It could be going to do those other things that he told you to do. Right? You know what I would personally do based on that particular verse? If I ever had billions of dollars, I would put some money into the development of liquid camel, so we could pour it through that eye. Make sure we get in there, right? Make sure that we're getting in there to have it. All right. Got to develop genetically engineer some liquid camel, or really, really small camels. Just throw that out there. I'm being facetious. But I think there's definitely something to be said for understanding that if you worked hard and God blessed you with good income, that you are supposed to use a portion of it to help people. Right? and to do those sort of deeds. And I think that's where you and I agree on that, Keith. Krill, we don't care, man. This guy is one of the accounts or followers of a guy who's a really weird, kooky, crazy stalker who does all sorts of goofball stuff. Do you guys want to vote on the Krill's forearm and strength? Do we want any votes? Some of the regulars are in here already who vote. We still have a small turnout today. Appreciate the super there, Keith. Small turnout today, but if we want to vote on that. So, all right, Defiant's got a kapow. So for Krill's forearms and strength, we got one kapow, right? Two kapows, and Keith is a channel member with a kapow. That's two kapows so far. Anybody else? All right. He kapowed himself. He voted for himself for a kapow. We got to warm it up. We got to warm it up. Here it comes. Here it goes. Here it goes. Got to have a little bit of shake and bake. Kapow! And he's out of here. Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. And you guys can do the shake and bake back. You got to have a little bit of shake. Somebody else got to type it. Come on now, I'm waiting on you guys. You guys got to be participants. You can just always count. Be freaking about. Got to have a little bit of shake and bake. You got to see the blue perk. You got to go ahead and bake with the fist pump back. Shake and bake, baby. All right, but that's what we just had there. No, Big Perk, I don't think that would be an appropriate use of the National Guard, honestly, man. You know. As long as they're here legally, then no. You know. I think this peppermint person, by the way, just wanted to throw that out. Yeah, no, totally fair, man. But peppermint, think about this for a minute, Keith. At least give credit where credit is due. At least Peppermint is promoting lifting weights, and he is promoting Christian values, right? Whether he gets it all right or not, you got to give him those 2 points in his favor.